All righty. And then we can have a conversation about basic universal income because have had a heated debate about, well, not a heated, but it was definitely a good discussion tonight and yesterday.
Yep, and we're live.
Ah, cool. Well, we made it.
Eventually.
We made it, and we're not actually. I got to check the time because we're not an hour and a half late this time. We are only 20 minutes late, Cass.
Woohoo! Yay, we're
I
getting
know.
better at this.
We're
We're
getting
getting
better at it.
better.
Well, I wanted to look good, so. But how's your week been going since last show?
Oh, it's been fun. It's been a challenge. It's been fun though.
I
I
know.
just,
I keep saying the amount of hours that you work and the hours, it's just crazy.
it
You
is.
know.
But
Like
it is what it is.
it is.
Could
That's
be
amazing,
worse.
though. But there's the pictures you were showing me of your shop. I can't believe how that's huge.
Hmm.
You've got a huge shop. Like I was like, wow, like it's like a house. It's gigantic.
Yes, it is. We need it though. Like linen machines, it takes up a lot of space. So
Right, right. Yeah, I can
we
imagine.
need the room to spread and move.
I can imagine.
And as
Yeah.
you may have noticed, I'm not the most uh, stable.
Oh,
Yeah,
you see,
so
Peter
I
showed
need
up.
room to move.
Yeah,
Hello.
I gotta bring up this comment. I'm learning how to do this. So show. There we go. Hello, Peter. How are you doing?
See, I told you I'd get in here eventually.
Yes, I know. I just want to look good and stuff like that. So once I get the paid version, I can really start making it look
Yeah,
really good. But I like the green. I think it looks all right. Not bad for
yeah,
just winging it together as we go. But what do you think? Do you like the
it's
neon
authentic.
green? I love the neon
It's
green.
authentic. And I do like it. It suits you perfectly.
It suits me
It does
perfect.
suit
Yes, I
you. It
got my actual
does.
perfect. I got my round glasses back instead of my normal black ones. I actually
Okay.
got, so I definitely look totally different. Oh, hi,
You do.
Mandy.
Hey, Mandy.
And as long as
So
you guys think the
don't be
sound is
scared.
good, hopefully the cast and I sound good. That's the one thing I don't like is I can't adjust the volume the way I want to, but hopefully it sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. Oh, good grief. I'm in an echo chamber here, so I echo no matter what way I go about it. I can't. I don't know.
Ah,
Doesn't change.
well, yes, very cool. If you think everybody says thinks it sounds good, that's perfect. I kind of got my camera angle working a little better. It's weird because I kind of like have my camera set in between both of my monitors. So I got to look at my camera and then I got to kind of glance over at my monitor and look at the chat and all of that. So pretty Peter's like, stop stressing, buddy.
See,
I know, but no, what I'm kind of in a worked up mood, Cass, as you know, because I was crippled in a car, a new car yesterday. My buddy had a new car. He wanted to take me for a ride, so we went for like an hour and a half. And it's some new car. I don't know the make of it or anything like that. And it almost crippled me for like the last day and a half. I got out of the car, and I know pain with the best of them, and this like I couldn't even walk. Like it was so bad. And I remember messaging you going, okay, these new cars are horrible. The seats,
it is.
like it was
It
so
is.
bad.
Yep.
So I'm just glad
And
that I made it here tonight.
I am too, because you're pretty racked up. Even earlier on, or this morning, my time here, and weren't doing too well there for a little bit.
No, I wasn't doing good.
So,
I was in a lot of pain. I was like, I might not even be able to make it here tonight and stuff or do my radio show, but I toughed through it. I don't like canceling things. I may be late, but I'm getting better at that and getting better at setting up things quickly. And I don't like canceling. So I was going to tough through it either way. But so I was
mm,
worked up over that. And then I got into a discussion actually with three people in the last couple of days, which is really weird. We were talking about, and I want to get your thoughts on this because this is a really good conversation to have. We were talking about the universal basic income, which I'm sure people listening know what that is. And I got into a pretty interesting debate with a few people, a couple of my friends, over the last few days, and I was very surprised, Cass, how many people were defending it and thinking that this was a great thing, and I see totally opposite. So I want to get your thoughts on the whole topic.
my personal opinion with that, on a very, very base level, it makes perfect sense. Yes, it does. Because there's always going to be that element of society who are unable to procure an income and that do need to survive. In Australia, we have we call it welfare, the dole, whatever, however,
Same here. Yep. Yep.
um, and we get a lot of people who just sit on that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for whatever reason. And when I say that, I mean there are people who left school, get their payments, and that's it. We have a whole subsection of our culture here that do nothing but sit on their asses and do nothing but breed children and don't work for anything, spend their days drunk. Um, and I can't get too far into any more on that because otherwise I'll go wander into colour territories and other stuff. So I'll shut up there.
Right.
But it's controlled. So they've just brought in what they call an Indu card, not just, but they brought in an Indu card so that I think 80% of their payments is controlled. Like you cannot spend it anywhere but for essential services like food or I think schooling, I'm not too sure. But then everything's controlled. So the more they give us, the more control they have over us.
Exactly.
That's my thing. And
That
it's
was
bad
my
enough as
argument
it
too.
is.
Yep.
So yeah, while on one level, it sounds perfectly fine. It sounds great.
Okay. Perfect.
Gee, I would love to be able to just sit at home and do nothing and say, thanks, I'll take that. Cheers. I'll go batshit crazy, but still. But the concept of the control, that scares me. You know, we've got enough of that going on as it is. They tax enough out of us. They make us their slaves, which is something you and I go back to quite often.
Yep. All the time.
And now they want to do that. No, I'm sorry, no.
Yeah.
When you add into it the interference that we've got going on from the WEF and the UN, what's coming in for all of our countries, especially us Commonwealth nations like yours and you and us.
Mm-hmm.
No, that the whole concept scares me.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I was very shocked that the people I talked to were defending it. I thought it was kind of like a slam dunk when we got talking about it because I was like, and I totally agree with what you say that the governments already have enough control. They've already got their boot on our necks as it is, and then we're going to give them. We're going to become people are going to become reliant on them giving this. And I mean, when you think of this basic universal or universal basic income, it sounds good when you first hear it on the surface because you're thinking, okay, like everybody's going to be getting the same amount of money and it's more equal. Like that's kind of what the people I was talking to about. And then if you want to, and then you can still work, at least from where I'm going, what I've seen so far where I live, you'll still be able to work and make more money and stuff like that. That's kind of how they're selling it, but everybody's going to get the same amount. And I'm thinking, okay, this is very dangerous because as you said, me and you speak out against government all the time. I don't believe in the authority of government at all. I think that because like when you think of government, it's based in slavery, right? It's a slavery system. You have people that are it's based in coercion, it's based in violence, and then you're going to give them the power to start controlling how much money you get. I see abuse written all over that. I mean, from a mile away, and so when I hear people defending it and advocating for it, I kind of think they haven't really thought it through. I think they're looking at the surface level, as I mentioned, and they're thinking, oh, this is a great thing. But I look at it much deeper than that, as I know you do, is that you're giving more control to a government system, which you know they're going to abuse. I mean, that is what government does, and they're not going to ever give it back, the power that they take from this. So I think it's a very, very dangerous. I don't support it at all, in any way, because you're dealing with government, and then they're gonna abuse it. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. It maybe not at first because they want to sell it to the people, but over time they're going to use it as a weapon against us. Guaranteed.
Of course they are, and tie that into the social credit system
I was going to bring that up too. That
being bantered around.
Yep.
Yeah. So once that's all tied in, you know, there's a lot of jokes going around, a lot of memes going around on you get to the groceries and your card doesn't work because you said something on Facebook 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a joke, people. That is coming at us like a steam train. And if people who can't see that and cannot make the connection between that, the UBI, and the government absolute overreach of power that's going on, then we can't save everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I've got. We can't say it. We can educate, we can explain as much as we want to. We're blue in the face. It's not going to help some people. They're just not going to be able to correlate, make the correlation between what this means and that means and that means. And at the end of the day, you're a prisoner. So, how often do I say to you in conversation, to people I talk to from chat, to Jamie on air, we need to step out of this matrix because that's the only way to break their hold. No government in power ever in history, ever, has willingly given up. Oh, cute, smart ass. Has ever willingly
I was like,
given up.
Peter just said that. I'm going to highlight it because we're right on the same page with everyone.
And I'm not cheating either because my glasses are over here and I can't see squat on the screen, to be honest. Then they've never ever given up power willingly. You know,
Nope.
We had an incident here, a month ago, where the original Tribal Federation walked up the front steps of Parliament House and made their decree, and they laid it all out. They've got the paperwork, they've got the facts, and they're correct. They're 100% correct. But everyone cheered and clapped and yelled and yay, we won. What do they expect? The Prime Minister to walk out the next door and go, you know what, guys, you are right. I'm really sorry. Here's the keys.
Yeah.
Because that is not going to happen. We have to fight for it. They're not going to give it up.
And the problem is, Cass, too, that you're exactly right. And the problem is a lot of people which boggles my brain every time I think about it. A lot of people like the system the way it is, and they support the government system, right? And they have this dogmatic, and what bothers me is they have this dogmatic belief that certain people have more rights than another person, right? So then, and I come from the belief, and I know that we're all born with the same amount of equal rights. We all have the same rights. You can't give rights to somebody because they're not yours to give. So then people have this belief that people in authority and government have more rights than us, and that we have the obligation and the responsibility to follow these people. And that's where my problem was, because that is such a dogmatic way to think of it. And government, period, is slavery. How people can't see that, especially in this day and age, it's really it really opened my eyes when I started looking and talking to people, especially one-on-one. You know, and especially with this universal basic income. I really thought the people I was going to talk to, the people I did talk to, were going to say that they weren't for it, and they really were defending it. And I just think, as I said earlier, they just haven't looked deep enough into it. And I like the way that you brought up the social credit score too, because if they do implement this and it does ever pass, which I think it eventually will, I really do. I think this is going to happen. Then we're ripe for the picking then, because they're going to put us on a credit score. And then so people like me and you and Jamie and the people in the chat, as soon as we go out and do a show like this, or we do any type of show where we're going against the grain and trying to expose these evil people, is the best way to put it, you bet your ass we're going to get penalized for it. We're going to be punished for that.
Yeah, if that's what they're bringing in, they would have had me locked up months ago, years ago. Just for, if they can't read your thoughts, but just the things that you say. That basically puts the end of free speech. That's it, end of story, because you can't say what you think under that system.
Yeah.
And if that's tied to your income and your ability to procure goods for your family, where does that leave you?
Leaves you toting the government line.
Yep. And although we elect them, I don't think anybody likes the government that much. You'd
be surprised. You'd be surprised the people, Cass, that defend it. I can only speak from the people I talk to. I know everybody's different, and I think people's groups are different, but I just know that a lot of people I talk to, they really don't see the government as they know like it's got problems and it's not perfect. Like and I think anybody would admit that, but they also think that it does a lot of good, and that's where they lose me. I'm just it's if it's based in slavery, it can't be good. The whole concept of it can't be good, and that's pretty bitter pill for some people to swallow. I think they don't want to think of it that way.
It is because nobody likes to. What's the word that's floating around these days that everyone's screaming and yelling about? It's called freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So people want their freedom to go back to like it was before all this latest buggy stuff have impacted the world. That wasn't any good. That was an absolute shit show all on its lonesome. What our life has been, what our systems have been, where we've been at. It needed a change. The Great Reset, everyone says it's a bad thing. Yeah, it is. What the plan is, it's coming in from these little WEF minions. That is an absolute, that we've got to stop. But it still needed a reset. The whole society as it is needs a total upending.
Right.
Because it wasn't working. It was encouraging things like sit on the dole and don't do anything. The split between Indigenous and the white populations, or I don't know how you phrase that, the Indigenous population and the rest of us, that wasn't any good. The situation between those who have and those who haven't, the government system, that's been a nose in the trough for how many decades now? Like Australia, I don't know about Canada. Australia's been slowly getting screwed by our government since at least the 50s.
Yeah.
We got sold out in the 70s. They've stripped us of every single constitutional right based on a constitution that's invalid anyway to start with.
Yep.
And yet they're still defending it. And the population that's that twisted up that they look at and go, oh, aren't they good people? What is wrong with you? They need to be shaken up. They need to be woken up. This is what is going on in the world. It is not good. So if
I agree.
Oh yeah, sorry. Sorry. But yeah, see, yeah.
We gotta keep. We're gonna get her going there, Peter. We're gonna get her all riled up here tonight.
You told me you were going to.
I know. Well, I'm kind of spent because like I said, I was been in so much pain, and then I got into these big, heavy discussions over the last couple of days with these my buddies here, and it was pretty. I'm kind of spent on it. I just got so upset because they just didn't see they didn't see how bad it could get with them in that kind of type of control. And as we were both saying, I can see the social credit system coming in very quickly if that does pass. And then another thing that I've been looking into, which I think everybody can agree, maybe not, but they're definitely working their way to a digital currency. And I think that you're going to see that very soon flip over to where you're not going to have paper money anymore. So they're going to turn paper money and just to like a cryptocurrency form so now you're going to have governments that are issuing you your money. It's going to be in digital form. And then all of a sudden you put these restrictions, like you were saying, if you go against the grain and you start talking out against anything that they don't like, they can turn the spigot off of money at any time. And so what is that going to lead to? That's going to lead that I know their game plan. It's going to lead to people being compliant and not saying anything because they want the people totally reliant on the government. That is what they want. They want people totally reliant on them and looking at them as like a father figure or whatever you want to think of them as. And to me, that's so dangerous. I really think that if it ever gets passed, I think people very quickly are going to realize it was a mistake. And I just hope it doesn't get to that point. I hope that me and you talking about it, other people talking about, I'd like to really get a big show and a panel of me, you, and a few other people and get their thoughts on this, because I really think that people have to start thinking a little bit deeper than just the surface. that, you know, oh, we're going to get money every month, you know. And then another thing I think what it's going to lead to, and if I'm being 100% honest, is if people know they're going to get this guaranteed money every month, it's going to lead to, I think, laziness in a lot of ways, because people aren't going to like, right? I'm just being honest. I think it's going to lead to people, they know they're getting this money, and it's going to at least cover their basic needs. So I really can see that going that way. And the reason I say that is because, at least where I live, I'm not sure in Australia where you live, but over the last couple of years, so everybody knows what we're talking about, what's happened over the last couple of years. I know where I live, there's help wanted signs everywhere. Like almost every store has got help wanted signs in their windows. Nobody where I live wants to work. And because they were getting that money for the last couple of years, like, you know, the government was like giving people money and that to try to, you know, to try to keep people afloat. And now it's leading to, at least in my area, where there's so many jobs out there. Is that like that where you live? Are people
Yep.
hiring, or like what's going on over on your pond there?
Everybody here is desperate for staff. Everybody, every single business in this town is screaming for people. We've got 24-hour businesses that have actually culled their night shift, like they're closing at 10 o'clock at night and not opening till 5 or 6 in the morning. They just can't get the
Really?
people. I've got um, I've got jobs that with who we've got here, we simply can't service because I can't find people to work. It's it's pure insanity.
Yeah.
It really is insane. And yet, um, yes, exactly, exactly. Um, and yet, the government's like your government. I know yours is doing it the same as ours. They're out there saying, "Oh, we've taken credit. We've got the jobless rate down." Yeah, great. What
Mhm.
about the businesses you're killing while in the process? You know, how does a business like us survive if I can't service our customers because I can't hire people because your jobless rate's down? Think
Yep.
about things, and that's that's the circle worker that they've got us trapped in. It's just crazy.
Right. So
But
it's bad over there too. Then where people just,
it's horrendous.
yeah. When I hear people now say I can't find work, I'm just like, oh, okay. I don't know where you're looking, but everywhere I everywhere I look, there's help wanted signs everywhere, and people just aren't wanting to work. So I'm thinking, you add this basic universal health care, or I don't know why I say health care, this basic income into
Yep,
it, and it's going to be, this is not going to, it's just, I
no,
really think that this is going to be, I know it's going to turn bad, and
yep,
it's going to
absolutely.
it's going to be abused, and I just hope it never gets passed. I know I'll be fighting against it, and I know you will, and I know a lot of other people
Yep,
will, and I agree with what Peter said. I mean, Peter's right on point when he says, you really are, Peter,
I
that,
told
you
you.
know, ignorance has already taken over. Ignorance in the world now is rampant.
Mhm.
Rampant. People are just, they're not looking into the topics that we cover. A lot of these people, they rather look, like as we were saying on the radio, because I cast on as my guest on my radio show tonight, where we just talk about music and that, and you said it
What have I
perfect,
got there?
Cast. Well, yeah, well, yeah, it was hey, we had a great time. I love it. You know, that's my little fun show that I do on Revolution Radio on Saturday. So I cast on, and my other friend Will, and we just had a great chat. But we were talking about we talked a lot, even a lot about serious stuff on that one, even though it's supposed to be a fun show, but we ended up going a little serious.
We
But
did, didn't we?
yeah, but I mean, it's just, I think it's, you summed it up perfect, that people don't want to look into important stuff. They rather look at this Johnny Depp case. That's what people are like. At least the people I talk to, I really know very little about this case because I don't care. I really
Yeah,
don't care about Johnny Depp's marriage or his life or anything. Yeah, and the only thing that kind of does interest me about the case, if I had to find something that interests me in that case, it would be, I want to see how the court systems are kind of geared towards going against, you know, about men and stuff. Because in a lot of cases, when a man's going against a woman, the woman's usually in favor. You know, the man has a hard
yeah,
hill to climb. So I'm kind of curious about that. But to follow the case, like for the last couple of weeks, like some people are just, there's better things for me to look up and to study.
yeah. The only thing I've seen on that is what's floated through my YouTube. So yeah, I'm a secret little um, crime breakdown nut. That's my little kink. I do
Right.
that for fun. You do music shows for fun. I do that for fun. And a couple of those have been featuring, a couple of lawyer channels that I follow have been featuring it, and that's the only thing I've seen on any of it. Because, like I said on the radio, I can't bring myself to watch TV. I literally just want to smash it. The frustration is real.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
The radio, I'm the same. I literally, I cannot listen to the radio anymore. It's just, I'm going to throw something at it. So, like, I haven't had that input. I very, very rarely do Facebook. The only reason I have Facebook is from the Southern Truth and the Sentinels.
Right. Yeah. I'm not a Facebook fan either by any stretch.
No.
I wish if I didn't do this, I wouldn't even be on it. To be honest, I just, yeah, I'd rather, I'm the old school. I like to use, I'd rather talk voice minimum. You know, I'd rather do it face to face in person, or at least with a voice call. I'm not like, and I've said it on the show before, I don't like texting because to me it's a dead language. There's no emotion behind it. There's nothing. It's just so dead to me. When somebody texts, you can't get a read on anything. So yeah, I just, you know, I really think that just, it was really, that topic is a good one about this income. I hope people see the downside to it, because I know I do, and I know you do, and I'm sure the people in the chat do. A lot of people, I don't see anybody in the chat going, yes, we need it, bring it in, roll it in. And I
don't think any of the crew that follow us would support it, to be honest, because you know these guys have been following us for a little while now. Both you, yourself, myself, and what we do with Jamie and the Sentinels.
Yeah.
And you know, we're all on that same page. If nothing else, we're bringing a collective together of like-minded people. So
right.
Again,
and that's
I
a great
say
thing.
It frequently. Yeah, well, that's it. And I say it frequently on Southern Truth.
Yeah.
If what we do here, if somebody out there watching us has got a friend who's banging on about this being a great idea, and you think something we've said here can help them see, and they share us out, then that's what the purpose of us doing this is. You know, everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason. And if we only help one person, then my work is done.
Exactly.
For this part.
And it could be be a month down the road. It could be 5 years down the road. Somebody sees this. I mean, that's why I always call it planting seeds. I'm not trying. I'm not trying to wake anybody up, because I don't think you can wake somebody up. I think this is something this is information that you have to want to seek out. And I know that was the case for me. Nobody could tell back when I was very not, wasn't into talking about these and learning about these topics. It was, if somebody could have talked to me till I was blue in the face, I may have listened a little, but I wouldn't have dug in and started really looking into it. I wanted to learn this and find out what was going on in the world, the real world, not the illusion that they pull over us, which you call the Matrix. I can't think of a better name because it's perfect. It suits it. And I've always wanted to know what's going on in the real world. And I just know, as well as you do and the people that are listening, that this is an illusion. And I tell people all the time, you don't realize the world, and it sounds crazy when you say it, but everything they tell us is a lie to some degree. Everything that you think that you know or you've been told it's contaminated in most parts, especially when it's coming from the government and mainstream media and all of that. And then, so I think that's the problem, is that, I don't think we're going to wake anybody up. I don't think somebody's going to come to our channel and go, oh my God, I'm awake. Hey, I think that they got to, well, I just don't. I'm being honest. I mean, I don't know. Maybe is anyone in the chat woke somebody up? Like I am never woke somebody up. I've talked to people that are very receptive to the information, and then they start digging into it themselves. I've done that, but I've never just had somebody just wake up like people think. I think you have to be willing and very open to A, admitting that we've been lied to, and then B, doing the work on yourself, as me and Cass have talked about before, shadow work, and then taking in this information. And I just think there's a lot of people that aren't even willing. I know there's a lot of people that aren't even willing to look into it. They'd rather watch Johnny Depp case, or watch a series or something like that. And I just think that with all the information we have, Cass, at our fingertips now, especially the way the world is now, you think a lot more people would be wanting to look at it, but they're happy, a lot of people, the way it is.
People can't see. So again, in my opinion, and I've done a fair bit of thinking and that, whoosh, you whoosh. We've been bred dumb. We've been we're not taught to learn. We're not taught to expand our thinking.
100%.
We are taught to parrot. And it's been going on. In my personal knowledge of people, it's been going on for at least the last 50 to 60 years. The more I talk about it, the more I think about it, the more I look into it, I keep pushing that age back a little bit. But I'm sort of at the 50 to 60 years now. And we're not taught to think. So some of us can. It's the same as the other abilities that we have. Like what we did this morning. There are other abilities that some people have managed to develop and grow. Everybody's born with that sort of gift of thought, of discovery, of knowledge. How do you think as children you learn to sit up, stand up, swallow, breathe, walk, talk? Because you've got that innate curiosity. And then it's slapped out of you.
Yep.
Then, what's the same when it comes to kids? You spend the first 18 months trying to get them to sit up and stand up and walk. And then the next 18 years trying to get them to sit down, shut up and listen.
Yep.
So that's just a saying, but I tell you what, that's what they do to people. And the ones who fight back are the ones that are the outcasted. You've got learning difficulties, you've got mental issues, you've got this, you've got that. Here, have these drugs. Here, you have that. No, go to timeout. No, do this, do that, do that. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And it's basically beaten out of us in one way or another, whether it's physically or mentally or spiritually. It's bashed out of us. Now, anyone who comes through that conditioning at that age as a child and can still hold on to their gifts and their thirst for knowledge and their ability to go and look, why is that like that? How did it get there? What is it? Instead of just accepting that is what it is, If you can get through that and still have that ability, then you're 15 steps ahead of the matrix.
Yep.
And it's not everybody who can do that. Not everybody's character is strong enough. Not everybody's soul and spirit is strong enough to withstand that. And then there's a lot of people now that are at whatever point in their lives waking themselves up to, I can see. Wow, I can see. Why could I not see? How did I get to paraphrase my husband? How did I get to this age and not see? I don't, and when he had his epiphany, oh, holy crap, there's just the shock and the I won't use the words. I'll be nice to your show. But excuse me. But just the shock of it. Now I can see. Why couldn't I? And it's a big thing. And for somebody with a less developed sense of self, that could be almost deadly.
Oh, it is deadly.
To find yourself at any age, 20, 30, 40, 50, and go, I fell for it. I got nothing.
Yep.
That it could do a lot of damage. So there's nothing wrong with people who are asleep. It's the ones who willfully remain ignorant, who don't look at something and go, that is wrong. What they're doing to our kids in schools and the sexual the flipping and the transing and the whole just upending of true nature of the world, male, female. That's it. I'm sorry, people, but you've got two options. What you do in your own time is your own free will, but stop playing with our children. Let them grow up as they should. And people who can look at that and excuse that and pass it off and allow it, where is your sense of self? Where is your sense of right and wrong? And they're the ones that I personally am at the point of, you know what, I can't save everybody, and I'm now not even going to try. I will continue to do what I do, but when the time comes, those people, I can't. I cannot. I can't. Yeah. Unfortunately, it is what it is.
And that's true. That
what have you done to me?
No, it's what we've done to each other is we've learned to question everything, and I like what you say about it. And when you're younger, that they get that. They want that out of you. They don't want conscious people think. They don't want conscious people, and they don't want people asking questions. And I know when I was in school, and I've talked about this, that when I was in Catholic school, I was one of those people that questioned everything. I would question the teachers. I would definitely question the priest when he would start talking religion, because it was a Catholic school, and I was centered out in class constantly, and then sent to the principal's office, and my parents were called in because I was asking questions, and they didn't like that. They didn't, because they didn't have the answers to half of my questions. They just told me I had to believe it, and well, you just have to believe it. It's there. You got to believe it. And I would ask questions, and I was punished for it. I was centered out for that, and so they attack children. They're going after the children. And I've interviewed a few people that are very knowledgeable on conscious parenting and homeschooling and getting your children out of this system, because that they don't want, like you said, conscious free will thinkers. They want people that are a cog in the machine, and that's exactly what the schooling system is that they get, they want you eventually just to get the bare minimum. And basically, to me, all the schooling system is teaching you how to obey somebody that's above you, whether it's your teacher, you got a principal, it's constantly making somebody above you an authority figure, so you get used to that. And then they put the school bell system, think of that, they got a bell system where they're ringing a bell, and people don't realize it. They've honed in on the human psyche so well. So I call them I call them master psychologists, and I hate to tell people that is what you're up against. You're up against people that know the human brain so well and how to program it. And they're starting it at, what scares me is at a younger age. When I was growing up, at least in Canada, you kind of had kindergarten, and you had senior kindergarten, and then grade 1 up through till high school. Now they got pre-kindergarten, and then you got somebody like taking care of your child, like a daycare, while both parents are at work, so that you got strangers raising your kids from basically the time they're almost born. And it's such a dangerous thing. And the thing they're doing is they're stomping out children's creativity and their energy. And that's what they feed on. That to me, the most valuable asset that people have is their energy. That and that's what they take away from people, and they take away that creativity, and they don't want conscious people thinking. They don't want people like us thinking, or the people in the chat. They do not want people like us talking like we're talking. That is the last thing they want, is people all around the world communicating and tossing ideas around, and talking about these issues. They don't want that. They want their good little workers that are going to go do their 9 to 5 job and do what people think is normal. And
pay their stipend, pay their taxes, let them live without doing anything, while we're the ones that bust our asses down to the bone. That's what they want.
That's what exactly. That is exactly what they want. And so it's the fact that they're attacking kids so young now is what's the most disturbing, in my opinion. And then I see, and that's what I mean. It's such a multi-pronged attack that they're doing, because they're attacking the children at a young age, and then they're getting them hooked on tablets and phones, and then they become part of social media, which is a whole. I couldn't even imagine what my schooling would have been like with the social media the way it is now, and the way that people attack each other on social media, and that the stress that must be put on people in school, even adults. Think of all the adults that go through that on social media. They're oh, for sure. And they're attacking every aspect, our air, our water, our everything, you name it. And they're dialed in, and they're attacking it. And then it's amazing that we've even got this far, to be honest. When I think about it, it's like, wow. And we have to, and people have to start educating themselves and start looking into these things. That's why me and you talk about natural law all the time, and right and wrong, that there is such a thing as a right and a wrong. Like, it's not, whatever you think it is, or somebody else tells you what it is. There is right and wrong that are inherent to nature. And
there is. And a right is not something that the government grants you. 100%. And there are far too many people who cannot see that, because everyone's hooked on the government. Yes, daddy, no, daddy, whatever you tell me to do.
Yep.
Okay, perfect example of hooked on government control, government worship. There you go, worship. Where we are, West Australia, our charming little premier, the clown we call him, he imposed a mandate. Now, you and I both quite get into the etymology of words, right? So we understand what they mean. We understand the actual purpose behind words. And I looked at that and my brain went, well, it's not a law. And you can't create a law out of thin air. And therefore, if it's not a law, it doesn't apply unless I agree to it. Mm-hmm. Then I looked into it and, there you go, mandate. I don't agree to the contract. I'm sorry, I refuse to accept it. And I just carried on. Literally just carried on. Did nothing.
Yep.
Everybody else in the state fell over themselves in obeying and muzzling people and segregating people and breaking their offices apart and sending people home and shut themselves down. Like all over the fact that nobody bothered to look at it and go, that's not a law. You're asking me to do something. You're not legislating me to do something. Mm-hmm. And whether you agree with it or not, gave you the option to refuse. And it's lazy.
For sure.
Brainwashed. I don't really know the right word for it because, there's a lot of good people. I've lost the respect for so many people in like fellow business owners in this town. I just literally now look at them and go, you know what? I'll keep this customer.
Yep.
But not so much walk away from me now sort of thing. And the schooling and all of that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And I was just gonna say that that is so perfectly said. That is exactly what it is this is a game to them, and yeah, to see. And I really think what happened over the last couple of years, like they didn't think it was going to go as smoothly as it did, and when they saw how quickly people just rolled over and fell for it and just complied 100%, I think that they really were like, wow, we've really got them where we want them. And it's true. That's exactly. They do not want people to know about free will. And that's the thing that you're not going to see in schools, is that they are not teaching. They're not teaching free will. They're not teaching the difference between a real right and a wrong. They're certainly not teaching natural law, and they're not teaching principles. They're not nothing. They're teaching you just shit out of a book that was written by the people that we shouldn't even be listening to.
Mm-hmm.
And. What are you learning? And then what really, if you you're going to get me going about the schooling system. And I get going because
you started me, your turn.
Well, it's just because it's such an unnatural way to learn. And I even knew that back when I was in school. I was like, you can't take a young mind for 8 hours, 9 hours a day, and then cram 9 subjects into their head, like 2 hours on this subject, jump to the next subject, 2 hours for this next subject. The brain doesn't learn that way. We're not designed. We can't absorb that quick. You have to process stuff. You have to get it in, process it, and so. And I like it because as the research I've done, there's in other countries they've done experiments where they will take children and only have certain classes, and they're only like an hour long, and then they do the classes outside, or they focus on what the children are interested in. And these kids are so smart because it's a whole different approach to learning. And it's the proper way to go about learning. And so I get really upset when they just cram these. There's no learning going on. It's like you said, you're just regurgitating what they're cramming down. That's how they grade how smart you are, is if you can remember all this stuff and write it down on a test.
It's like trying to judge a giraffe and a fish over who can swim faster.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, and I just think that the classroom for children and everybody, not just children, everybody, me, you, everybody, should be the world. Like that is your classroom. I've learned more than I ever did in a school by just being out in the world and out in nature. And that's another thing that they're trying to disconnect people from hardcore too, is getting away from all of connecting with nature. And we talk about that all the time. And it's really scary, like how they are driving people away from that and trying to keep them away from connecting with that. And
absolutely.
It's really,
I agree. Whoever invented the concept of wearing shoes 24 hours a day needs an introduction to my rake.
Yep.
Because that is the cruelest thing.
Yep.
Sorry, Charmer here, didn't you know? That is the cruelest thing that can be done to a spiritual being, whether it's man, woman, child, dog, cat, whatever. Um, it's it just breaks that connection. And at the core of the day, we're all part of the same matter.
Right.
So as long, they're breaking that connection to spirit, connection to soul, and teaching us to be good little robots. And what happens if you step out of line? You get shunned, you get medicated, you get rejected from their society.
Mm-hmm.
And the conditioning is such that many people can't cope with that, and that's wrong. Yeah, I agree, Russell. That'd be
That's
interesting.
amazing.
I'd like
Yeah.
to hear about that, mate.
If you're teaching and like teaching the things that we're talking about, then hey, that's amazing. You're definitely, if you are teaching the things that we're talking about, if you're teaching natural law and principles, right and wrong, and all like the umbrella under that, then you're one of the few, I think, that are teaching it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I talk to my friends who have, I see what their kids are learning, and it's not that. It's not that. And
No.
so that if you are, that's amazing. And I just wish everybody was doing that. All, and more parents were doing that too in a lot of ways, and not
Actually,
letting technology teach their kids,
yeah.
which I see a lot of too.
Tanya said something a little bit up the chat. So, okay, I've been
We're
keeping a rough eye on the chat, but I can't
okay. I can find. I think I know
get
the one
stirred
you
up and
meant.
let it flow out. Yeah, I tend to lose my place a
Is it
bit.
the one I told the school with tablets?
Yes, yeah, about tablets and that, and well put, exactly. You look at the kids these days; they're all attached to it. I mean, hell, what can I
We
say?
all are. We all
But
are.
we all
If
are
we're
to a
being honest,
point.
most people, most of us are. But can you now? What I would say to that is okay, and I think it's just because they are so. They are. I mean, phones and tablets are very handy. But what are you using them for in a powerful way? Are you just watching mindless stuff, or can you harness the power of that tablet or phone like I do? I'm always watching. It's either a documentary on something. It's either a presentation. I'm always learning on something. You know that I send them to you all the time. I'm always sending you
You
links to
too.
all this. Oh yeah, I send you links like every week of all the stuff that I'm watching. So that is what is a positive thing for it. But I
It
do see a
is.
lot of kids being raised very young. Like it's scary when you see how young some of the kids are walking around with phones and tablets in their hands. And I know people that's what they do. They put the tablet in their child's hand, and it keeps them quiet. And that's basically what's raising their kid for most of the day. And it's just being honest.
Okay. Without going into too much detail, I can. I'm actually going to tie that with some of the chat
Okay. If
comments
you want me to
here,
highlight
and
anything,
then
let me know.
no, it's all good. It's all good.
All right.
It's
Perfect.
the two guys that Peter and Russell who've been with us the whole show. It's going to tie into comments that you two have made. Our eldest grandson, from pretty much the minute he was born, he was the only grandchild at the time that any of the family was aware of. Complicated little setup, as in split partnerships, remarriages, you know. The short version becomes my parents are grandma and granddad for all of the grandkids. So because when I married, I inherited 3 kids and went, here you go, there's your grandkid, there's your grandkids. Take me off the hook. So now we've got kids coming out there. So the eldest one, when he was born, pretty much from the minute he was born, if it wasn't his mother, his father, or my parents, or the other grandmother involved, had a tablet or a phone or a DS back in those days, actually, in his hands. Play, entertain yourself. No. So this child got to the point of be given a toy and go, play. What now? Ah! Here, have this toy. Play. What now? Ah! Here, have this toy. Never got taught to have an attention span at all, in any way, shape, or form. And believe me, I had arguments with the kid from a very young age, because that to me is, if I say as a position of I'm Nana, I need you to sit and stay while I do this, and you don't sit and stay while I do this for a very good reason, then we've got issues, sort of thing. And I know Neil's the same. So roll on to school. There's, kids are put into school at the age of 3 in daycare or whatever you call it these days, 4 and 5 into primary school. And grandson is a January birth, so he's at the early group. So he goes into kindergarten or year 1 or whatever it is at the age of 4.5, I think it was 4.5 or just turned 5. Gets to school, can't sit still, can't pay attention, got no ability to focus, disrupts the class, disrupts everyone, because he's never been taught to focus on something, whether it's just one thing, whether it's a tablet, electronic, or whether it's a book, or just the old-fashioned baby things that they go bat with, as a that size. You can tell I'm not a mum here, but never got taught that. That process never evolved in his upbringing, because he was never given the opportunity. He was never encouraged to. So what did they do? Classed him ADHD.
Yep.
Put him on the drugs. So go forward to I'm going to say maybe 8, 9, 10. I think, Neil, you might want to correct me on this one. And we have a pre-teenage young man who walked around with the dopey face, the mouth, like they all do in the high schools these days, without a clue. His mother had been giving him weekends off, occasionally with the medication and that sort of thing, but he basically been full time on these meds for who knows, I'm going to say 5, 10 years. And the kid was a zombie. Like, he was literally a zombie. Yep. We come back over WA from over east when we were running around the country, and like he'd sit there and have a conversation with you, and at the end of it, you're looking at him going, yeah, and just trying to process in your brain what you were talking about, because it just didn't make any sense. And that's what they're doing to the kids. The grandson is now 16. Holy shit, 16. So he's actually coming out of it, thankfully, because I was quite scared there for a while that he never would, to be honest. But that's a whole generation that are basically doped into zombie. So if that's what's coming, well, that is what's coming, because this is what they've done.
That's what's here. Never mind, it's coming. It's here. I've talked about that with people too.
Yeah,
and
they have
people.
You want to put that in with, these are the sorry, Rick. Let me just tie this back to what we started the day with.
Go right ahead.
It's these people that are coming up that are now moving into adulthood, who are going to be making decisions and voting and running businesses and participating in society, and they're the ones that are going to say universal basic income. Yeah, I think that's a grand idea. Thank you.
Yep.
They're the ones, not us. Our generation, we can think. If you notice, all of the people who are in our sphere of thought, you get my point. Like in the same space that you and I are, sort of thing. Maybe not as high shut up.
We know exactly what you mean, Cass. I get it.
We're all sort of 40 to 60, that generation. The few younger ones, a few older ones, but we're that generation. The younger ones, they're the ones that are going to be the problem, because they're the ones that are going to bend over and say, that's a brilliant idea. Yeah, I'll do that. You want me to do? You want me to give you my credit score? Not a problem. Here's all my accounts. Sign me up. Not as a collective. There will be individuals that can see, but for the bulk of it, that's scary.
Oh, for sure.
That is frightening.
Yeah.
So that's where it's at. And sorry, Neil. Yes, Neil's just made the comment that grandson. He is a very intelligent person. He is extremely cluey. Not smart, book smart. Not teacher's pet smart. Very very cluey. And you know what? Educated people are not always smart.
Oh, that's the hardest thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Okay.
100%. Yeah.
Cass
And
is off the soapbox now. I do apologise.
no, I don't never apologize for no, don't apologize. I want to hear your thoughts and I want to hear other people's thoughts, and I think that's how things should be done is talking. So never apologize, Cass. That was amazing. And it's something I've talked about too about how they are drugging people more and more, right? They have a pill for everything now. I mean, they have a pill literally for everything. You can go in and tell them you got an itchy nose. I guarantee they're going to tell you they got a pill for an itchy nose somewhere. And what the thing that scares me too about these drugs that they're giving people is, as you were saying, it turns them into zombies. And I see that too. And what does that do if you're in that state? You're not thinking consciously, obviously, because you're drugged up and your brain's not functioning properly. And you're definitely not doing any inner work on yourself because you're not even you're basically just like you said, a zombie. So are you really going to be taking the time to sit down and in a quiet room or outside by yourself in quiet and doing the work on yourself and asking yourself the tough questions and being honest with yourself? You're not doing that inner work when you're in that state. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much. I mean, I want to talk about a lot of things that are causing what you were bringing up, but I know we can't. Not on YouTube, anyways. I mean, we will be. That's a topic for the radio show where we can actually have free speech because. But I think a lot of people know what's causing all of these problems in young people and some adults in that. And I think people know what we're talking about. A lot of it is stemming from that, and I agree with you that these are the people that are growing up that are going to be taking care of us someday, and it's a scary thought. And I
Terrifying.
really, it is, and that's the thing. I agree with you with I agree with what the chat's saying too because they're talking about a lot of people are making good points that and basically I think we're all coming to the conclusion that that's why I love the topic of conscious parenting because it starts at home, and I think that parents have to start stepping up and actually engaging with their children and getting them out in the world. And that was the one thing I was very fortunate for, Cass, when I was growing up, is I had parents that took me out in nature and stuff. They brought me in the woods. They let me explore. And I remember, and I'm sure when you were a little girl, you were never home, right? I know I was never home when I was little. Like I was always outside doing something. I was never, I wasn't even allowed to sit in the house and watch TV when I was younger. It was like, go outside and play, come back for lunch and then go back outside again, then come back for dinner kind of thing. And I was always out exploring and learning about the world. That was the best teacher that I ever had, was that exploring and interacting with my friends and all, and never not from a book, never what they taught me in the schooling system, for sure. The world that I explored was my teacher, and it was amazing. And I still have that connection to this day. I'm very, very aware of nature and connected to it, and I know you are for sure.
Yep.
And I was telling you that today that kind of made me feel good, was going outside because I was so sore, and I just go out like you said. I don't know who invented shoes, but people are not meant to wear shoes 24/7. So I go out in bare feet and just stand in the grass, or I stand in dirt for like an hour, and I feel better. It's grounding. There is actually a term for that, which they
There
call
is.
grounding. And I didn't even
Yes.
know that. I just learned that. I didn't know there was an actual word for it. I just knew that it worked, and it really made me feel a lot better. It eased a lot of my pain and my sleeping issues. I had a lot of sleeping issues. And when I started doing this and actually grounding with the earth and start working in the soil with my hands and just like I said, standing or sitting down with my feet in the dirt or in the grass, it made a huge difference. And then I found out that they call it grounding. I didn't even know there was a term for it.
So to without twisting it too much, think of it as an electrical connection because you're earthing yourself. You're earthing yourself. So you're not only reconnecting with it, but you're drawing the energy, you're drawing the ions, you're drawing the spirit through your direct physical connection to the earth. And you're releasing the negative and releasing the waste products from your body and your spirit at the same time, and your soul at the same time. You know, you're replenishing yourself from the earth, much the way a plant replenishes itself as it expels the oxygen, replenishes from the earth. That's what it is. It's just a one giant electrical connection. And when people realize it and feel it, that's where the power lies.
Yep.
That's where your self lies.
Yep. It's amazing the difference when I started doing this. And then I found that was the research I've done is that it's exactly what you just said too, that wearing shoes and that all the time, you're building a charge up in your body because we are all electrical. So we're building this charge up, building it up, and it actually does have negative effects on your health. So then I was told that when you go outside and you're in your bare feet and you're connecting with the ground, you're releasing that charge and bringing in a positive charge, getting rid of the negative and charging yourself up with the positive. So it's exactly what you just said. That's what somebody actually told me not long ago, which is amazing that you actually said that. You know, we're ready, we're here, Cass. And then people in
I'm
the
a fount
chat,
of weird information.
when we are, but it's amazing, and it's stuff that people aren't talking about. And this is perfect. What Andrew said.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you
exactly.
yeah. When you start looking into this stuff, they they do it on purpose. They make you think that you're weird or that you're crazy or you're into like you know weird things that and
Sorcery,
so
witchcraft, you
yeah,
know,
and it's so far from the truth. It just
it
really is.
is.
Like
The power exchange is something that scares people who've never mastered it.
yep.
You know, um, and if you've never mastered it and never experienced the benefits that something like that can bring, well, of course you're scared of it.
Right.
You know, isn't it nature to be scared of the unknown? Well, sort of. Yes, exactly, Peter. I
I'm
almost had him there this morning. Actually, I
I
almost
am
had him there.
I am so
He
gonna
was
try that tomorrow.
in the grass. Seriously, seriously, I've been working on that.
Yeah, Peter's
Um,
gonna have me up to my ankles in dirt, sitting out in the garden,
yes,
going, "All right, let's see what happens now." But I will do it.
yeah.
I will, because
That
I
was
feel
next
the
on my
change.
list actually. After I did your little healing.
Yeah, that was
Um,
amazing. Yeah, that was actually cool. Very cool. But no, I it's true, and I mean, we could go on for I could talk to you, Cass, for hours, and especially the people in the chat. I really appreciate you guys being here and giving us your thoughts on that. I really think that these are topics that more people have to start talking about this and bringing it to the light. And
I
I keep
agree.
telling you guys, and I'll keep saying it. And I know I say it to Cass all the time, and I say it to everybody I know. It begins doing the work on yourself. You have to
Yes.
before you can ever go out into the world and start and talking about it. For me, I had to work on myself, and that's what I call shadow work. And I will be doing a presentation on that, by the way, in a few months. I got invited to do a presentation for the Funnel 2 conference, which is Freedom Under Natural Law. Lots of amazing speakers doing presentations. So they asked me if I wanted to do one. I've never done one before, so this is going to be the
I'm
first time I've
excited
ever
for you.
done it. All right, well, you're excited. I'm nervous as hell, if I'm going to be honest. I've
You'll be
never, but I'm excited to do it, and I want to do it on shadow work because I've told people many times, I think that's the foundation to what we're talking about, and I think the work you have to start on yourself and be brutally honest with yourself and start questioning everything that you believe and why you believe it. Is it something that you found out for yourself, or is it something you were told to believe? Was it something
yep.
that was programmed for you to believe? And then that's the work, and it's hard work, you
It's
know.
not easy.
But
It's
is
not
there
easy. But then
anyone in
again,
chat?
waking yourself up
Right?
is not easy either. If you think about
No,
it,
no.
because it's self realization that holy shit, I thought I was a smart person, and I'm not because I fell for that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that alone is like the mule kick to the head. So anybody who hasn't hasn't got any idea of the way the world works, can you imagine what that's going to do to them when if you got hold of them and went, right, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to see, and they get it? Can you imagine what that would do to them? Like how many circuits that would blow?
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be gentle. It
Yep.
has to be gentle
Oh,
because if it's
I've told you before that I when I first started learning about this years ago, I would kind of get a hold of somebody and just kind of data dump them. I would get talking to them, and I would lay it on thick. I'd be like, okay, we're starting with natural law, and yeah, just start giving it to them, and you could just see this look over their face, like they were just like, "What are you talking?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then they would just look at me like I was crazy, and I realized that people are all at different levels of consciousness, and so you got to kind of judge it. You can't just, and you're never going to teach anybody by beating them over the head with it. It's something, that's what I was saying earlier. It's something that people have to want to look into them for themselves, and it grows from there. It's not
yep.
something that you're just going to like data dump on somebody and then they're like all of a sudden awoke, as you were saying. It's, you have to be willing to seek this information out and be open to accepting it, which is, I
Mm-hmm.
call it, which is a trivium process. I tell people that too, that look at it as we're talking about mind, thoughts and emotion, but I look at that as, you can look at a computer sense, and that's what the trivium, I kind of describe it as computers, because we're all on computers right now, or phones, or so I look at it as you're willing to take in the information, which is input, and then you got your processing, and then
Mm-hmm.
output. So that's the
Yep.
trivium, and
Yep.
you can apply that in every aspect of your life, everything you do that process, and you're going to see the results. But you have to be willing to first take the information in, which a lot of people aren't even willing to do that.
I find it. I'm still laughing at what was it? Our first one of these, first show of this that we did, and I described to you my information filter process,
Mm-hmm.
and you threw that straight back at me. Well, that's the trivium process. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Had no
Yep.
idea.
Yep.
Literally
And
had
that,
no idea.
well, yeah, and it's just that's just the way that learning should be done and taught,
Yeah.
and it's not. That's the problem.
Yep.
And I always tell people, bring it back to that, and you can look up the trivium process, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And it's
Yep.
just a way that we should be learning and thinking and processing the information that we get. We just, and not believing everything that we hear, or because you heard somebody else say it. You have to look into these things yourself and then do that process. And it works on
Yeah.
every aspect of your life. It's a really a great way of doing things. It's the proper way of doing things.
Hmm.
You know,
We're not taught. We're
where,
not
oh,
taught.
yeah, they don't teach. No, exactly. They don't teach that in school. They teach you just to memorize. That's how they grade your how smart you are. Can you? And I wasn't good at that in school. I wasn't good at memorizing pages and pages of stuff at all. I didn't. Some people don't learn that way, and I was one of
So
those people.
there's a lot of people.
Yeah, and they try to
Hmm.
cram that the same way they teach for every student, which is crazy to me too. I used to always get upset about that when I was in school too, because I'm a very visual learner. I like to learn by watching and then doing it. I'm not good at like learning from a book. Like if I read a textbook, I have a hard time doing that and keeping that information in. But if I see a video of it, or I do it myself, obviously I learn very quickly. So the fact that I had to read all these books in school was not a good way for me to learn. It just, I wasn't built that way. And so the fact that they have this way of teaching all of the kids the same way, you can tell you right
It's
there
wrong.
that it's wrong. It's not gonna,
Yeah.
it's really a bad way of teaching all the way around,
It
you
is,
know.
and you're not the only one. There's I can name dozens of people exactly the same,
Mm-hmm.
um, who just aren't built for the system that we've been lobbed into and needed to way back when. Haha, step out of it. Too late now, but we can deal with it and not inflict that on our next generations. That's the thing. What we're doing and what we're building is not for our benefit. It's for the benefit of the kids, the grandkids, those who are yet to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need to fix. We need to make it better for them. And we learn from our mistakes. You and I, we know what doesn't work and how it did us wrong. So part of what we're doing is, this is how you don't do things. again, ties back to your natural law basic. How do you know the difference between a right and a wrong?
Yep.
If it's
And
wrong, well, it can't
most
be right,
people,
can it?
yeah, yep. And most people can't even tell you the standard definition of a right, and that's why we're losing them, because you can't
Yep.
defend something if you don't even know what it is. That's the problem, and
Well, now the
it's
thing
so
is,
simple.
we're not
It's
losing them though. They're still there though. That's the
right.
thing.
Yeah.
We're losing access to them. There's a
Right.
difference.
Right.
That's
And
what I
people
would
are
say.
very quick to give them away for what I call security. They're willing to give away a lot just to get this feeling of security for that the government provides, which is a false belief in it. It's an illusion. Is the problem, and then that's the problem as I see, especially over the last couple of years, how quickly I saw people be willing to give up so much and not realizing that once you give these things up, you're not going to get them back. Because as you were saying earlier, they never give power back when they take it. When have they ever said, "Oh, you made it. We made a mistake. Here's your power." Oh, sorry. You get. They don't.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
very
Every big
dangerous.
ticket event, every big
Yep.
ticket event is designed to take away one more
That's what
piece
they
of what
do.
they've granted.
Yep.
And sorry, no,
Yep.
end of story. I'm not playing that game. I haven't played that game for quite some time, unless I've,
Me either.
obviously you've got interest in what they've got us in, but I'm not playing that game. And the
Mm-hmm.
longer this goes on, the less inclined I am to even go near it. I'm probably going too far the other way, to be honest, because right now I'm just like, I don't even want to play it. No. And
Yep.
oh no.
No.
So
And I've heard you say that many times on the show with you and Jamie on Southern Truth. You're like, I'm not playing no more. I'm done with this. And
yeah.
that's what people have to realize is that's the most powerful word. People don't even realize the most powerful word that you know is no. Like no.
Both ways.
Uh,
Both ways.
Yes.
Both ways.
Yes. And people have to realize that they got to start standing up and saying no, like enough, like no. And that's what
Yeah.
and it's and when I think about natural law and when we talk about rights and freedom and all of that, it's what it is common sense, and common sense is left the building.
It's a
Common sense
superpower.
yeah, like common sense, I'm sure you would agree, has left the building years ago, that people just don't,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have it. They don't have it, and it's so simple when you learn about it. You're just like, wow, the fact that in 2022 we're talking about this and having to educate people on what a right is and natural law and all these other topics is amazing, that we're actually having to tell people about this, and a lot of people don't even know what it is or can't define it.
No, no, because indoctrinated into the system. Again, not through anybody's fault of their own. That's the thing. That's
Right.
excuse me. That's something that I think we really need to make clear. And everybody, like all you guys who are out there, taking from this or adding to this and sharing the same message out in your corner of the world, it's not their fault. It's not your fault, people. We get it. But if you want to break out of it, you need to listen and you need to learn and you need to open your mind, your eyes, your soul, your ears, your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be open and you need to think. And that's the problem. You know,
Yep.
It's gone. How many of us out there now who are in the freedom movements, for instance, who are out there with a shovel going whack 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 whack, whack. Here, think, da, da, da. And people are going, you know what? No, you bet. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand what you're saying. No. And they're just flat out rejecting it. Whereas if you're going gently and say, look, think about it, option one, option two, think, make
Mm-hmm.
your determination based on your own self,
Yep.
go back to the natural thing, then people are going to get it.
Yep.
And that's where we need to have the efforts, and we need to just have the patience. Don't ask me how the hell to do that, because I've got zero.
Yeah, I get frustrated too. I get it. I mean, I know people that have been doing this for 10 or 15 years, and I'm like, how do you do it for that long? Like the stamina that takes to do that, to keep hammering the same message. And imagine if you're doing that for 10 or 15, 20 years and people still are as ignorant as they are, if not worse than they were years ago. It's not getting better, it's getting worse. That's the problem. Like, and I keep hearing about this great awakening that you hear people say, like, everybody's waking up, and I'm like, well, I don't know where you're looking, but I don't see
Yeah.
it. I don't see it. I think the last 2 years should have proved to a lot of people that there is not this great awakening going on, like that they think. I think that there is pockets of people waking up and people every day, but not as quick as people think is the problem.
Yep.
I
Yep.
just
Exactly.
and I just think that I agree with you said that you got to go at it slowly and not just like I was doing at the beginning, trying to hammer it into people, and it doesn't work that way. I found out that very quickly that you have to kind of come to this yourself, and that's why I call it laying seeds, as I always say. I just kind of talk to people, and I hope that something I say will spark something in them down the road or at that moment, and they'll look at it, and that'll start them on their journey. Because it's once you start looking down this path and you start going down it, it's amazing. And I just hunger for that knowledge now, and I know you
Yeah.
do. Like I send you stuff all the time. You send me stuff, and we're always talking about the stuff that we're sending back and forth. You know,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I'm a
so
chaser. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
me too. Me too. I'm hungry
Mhm.
for that information. So great stuff. I what a
Yep.
great talk. I really enjoy our talks on Saturdays. I enjoy interacting with the chat too and hearing what they got to say and their thoughts because I mean they're in tune. From what I'm reading, they know exactly what we're talking about.
Absolutely. 100%, my friend.
Yeah.
These guys over here are bang on the same path as we are.
Yep.
Right there with us.
Yep.
So
But if there's any chats you want me to highlight, like you gotta keep reminding you, let me know. I'm trying to keep up with them.
yeah.
I'm doing a little better than I normally do, guys. I've actually highlighted a few this episode, so I'm getting there.
Well, we're using StreamYard, so it's a bit different. Yeah, it's a new concept for you, as some of you guys found out on Monday when we popped up
Yeah,
with the surprise live.
yeah, there you go. Seeing it, Neil said, having to teach people how to work safely, common sense used to be how one learned. Well, exactly.
Yep.
You know,
I've been a fan of for many years now of let's just take all the morning tags off, all the paperwork out of it, and let Darwinism occur. Sad but true. Sorry.
Andrew just says, "You're learning, Rick. I'm learning, Andrew. I'm getting there." Slowly but
Yes,
surely,
yes.
this has been a process. Definitely, I got some great interviews, though, Cass, coming up. I've lined up like some amazing guests. I'm very excited what's for the next couple months. I've been really,
Yep.
I'm going to have some great guests on the YouTube channel here doing my interviews and going to bring them on the radio show if possible, too. Some of them I may only be able to bring on the radio show. As you know, I don't think YouTube will let me interview a
Yep.
couple of these people because it's just going to get pulled. So it'll be on the radio show, and maybe I'll put it on. I'm going to make an Odyssey account. I think I've had a lot of people recommend Odyssey, so I might. I think I did make an account there actually a couple days ago. So I'm going to maybe start uploading there too, and I can put interviews up there.
That's a
Uh,
good idea.
yeah, because I think that's it, just the guests I'm going to have on are just providing amazing information, and I will be uploading a video tomorrow that I did with a
Yes.
couple, Jennifer and Rob, and we talked about a lot of stuff like conscious parenting, homeschooling, uh, the birthing process, like what they do to women that are pregnant with ultrasounds and all this stuff. Really interesting, guys. So I hope you check it out. I will have that. I will premiere that tomorrow night, probably like maybe 8 or 9 p.m. my time, Eastern Standard Time. So that would be a day ahead for you people in
It will be 12
Australia.
hours ahead for Western Australia. So
Yeah.
age your time forward as we go forward. The other thing, or just on that note, Jennifer and her partner, they've jumped in on the chat here with us a few times just to make that connection there, just for people. So you've probably talked to them. I just said I'll talk to him later about that, and we'll get something organised when you've got
Yeah.
a chance.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would. Yeah, definitely. I think this would be a great topic for you too, Cass.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm game. I'm game. I would love to talk about this too. So yeah, definitely. If you guys do have show ideas, definitely let me or Cass know. I'm not hard to get a hold of. If you know Cass, you can give them my email, Cass, by all
Yep.
means. And I can give my email is very simple. It's beenthinkingpodcast@gmail.com. So been
I just
thinking.
dropped my my public one in the chat too, because
Oh, perfect.
I'm quite
Yes.
interested. I want to have a little chat to Russell about his teaching and his learning methods.
Yeah, that would
So
be
I see
great.
you
I
send
would
me an
love to
email.
hear that too. I would love to hear that too. So yeah, definitely, Russell, if you could even email me, as I said, binthinkingpodcast@gmail.com. And anybody can email me. I'm not hard to get a hold of. And if you have
I'm just
show
typing it in there now
ideas,
for you.
yeah, or if you want to come on the show or anything like that, by all means, get a hold of Cass and I. And
We don't bite much.
yeah, well, yeah, we don't bite, not too often, but
Much.
yeah, much. And yeah, I think it'd be great to get. I would love to have people come on and talk about these things, natural law, their experience, if they've done shadow work on themselves. I think it'd be very helpful even for my presentation to talk to people that have done that work and who are currently doing it. Because once you start on that shadow work, I always tell people it never ends. I do it every day in some form. I try to spend at least a couple hours alone, like by myself, somewhere quiet, and just with my thoughts and asking myself the tough questions. And I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy doing it now, but I didn't enjoy it at first because it was hard and it was uncomfortable. And I'm sure you went through that too when you start out when you really start digging into yourself. It's not a comfortable place at first, but
Yeah.
definitely something that
Yeah.
needs to be done, I think. And that's what they don't want people doing is that's what all these distractions are there for. Trust me, guys. That is
Yeah.
what they don't want you doing. They don't want you learning natural law. They definitely don't want you learning that. They don't want you learning about morality. They don't want you learning about principles. They don't want you looking at all this spiritual stuff, and they don't want it. They don't want that. That is the last thing they want. So they put that's why the distractions are there. All these
Mm-hmm.
movies, all the different music, all the everything that's a distraction in the world. And then they load fear on top of that. As we and Kaz have talked about in other shows, they've always got the next fear lined right up. So you go from one fear to the next, one fear to the next, one fear to the next, and in that state, you're not consciously thinking. You're basically on autopilot. You're in that fight or flight mode. There's
Yep.
no conscious thinking going on there or learning, and it's
Rat in a
all by
cage.
design. Yeah, it is, and it's all by design. That's why they do it. So
Yep. I agree. I
you know,
agree.
but how are we
Um,
doing on time here, Cass? Because I know I told you to try to keep me on
I,
time.
I missed the hour. Missed the 1 hour mark. We're at an hour and 20.
Oh, okay.
So we did say we'd go for an hour and a half because that first one we were way too short of being
Exactly. Yeah, so we got like another
by a
10
few
minutes.
people.
That's good. And I'm
Um,
just trying to read and chat here too. And
yep. Cheers.
uh
My picture. I think it's my YouTube picture. That's my Phoenix. I have it on my screen. It reminds me daily of where I've come from,
mm-hmm.
what how I've got to where I've got to, and just what all that time without that connection to, I'm going to say my abilities. I don't put it out there publicly a lot, but what my abilities and what I can do, what they did to me, and what I've been able to do since I've come back into myself. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. The Phoenix is my spirit.
Yeah. I,
Okay, I'll
I'm
shut up
just
now.
no,
See ya.
you
I'll
go
talk
right
to you
ahead,
later.
Cass.
No,
No,
him.
oh,
Peter, I'll
okay,
talk to him
him.
later. I'll sort
Okay.
him out.
No, okay. I'm just getting a little bit better, guys, trying to keep an eye on the chat. And I know Cass is keeping an eye on the chat too. So and yeah,
Struggling.
definitely.
I put my glasses on. I can't see properly, but I can't see.
I don't know how you follow so many chats. Like usually you've got like two or three conversations going and I'm telling jokes while you're on the air with Jamie and that's fun though. I I love getting you laughing while I wait for it and then I get in trouble by Cass. Then she gives me shit, tells me to stop making jokes while she's live. So I was like, all right, I can't do that all the time. But I still have to have a little fun with you.
You do. Oh, dear me. Poor Jamie. He must wonder what the hell I'm on some days.
I'm sure he does. And he's like, why is she laughing? Like, what is going on here? She's sitting there laughing away, and we're telling. Meanwhile, it's because I'm telling jokes or somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
you
It's
gotta laugh a little. You have to laugh a little and have fun. And I tell people that too. That when you and it's very important, guys. Like when you start looking into this information, and I'm sure Cass would have backed me up on this, and probably everyone in the chat that when you start going in and it gets, especially when you're doing the shadow work on yourself, it gets pretty dark at times. And you have to make time to have a little fun. You can I mean, that's why I do my 1 hour show where I just talk about music or whatever and just have a little bit of fun. There is you
Yeah,
can go out and enjoy yourself too. I think a lot of people think that you can't do that. And I always tell people that's not if you're getting that from what I'm saying, that's you're missing my point totally. That
yeah.
I'm not telling people not to go out and have fun or enjoy life or enjoy and people and stuff. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you have to make time for all of it kind of thing. Would you agree?
I completely agree. I
Right.
with everything that's going on in the world and life in like right from our small petty things right up to the big picture. If you cannot take the time to stop, breathe, laugh, connect, then we've got problems. We have a problem.
Yep.
There is a time and a place for everything. The serious must always be covered,
Yep.
but we do need to take time out. Like doing what we do,
Yep.
doing what we're doing here. Just stop, chat, let's play. We get to combine it with a bit of serious as well because we, obviously what we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But I view it as this is my playtime. This is me able to put business cash away, forget what my piles of paperwork that frightened you earlier when I sent you a photo.
That's so true.
And this is my fun, this is my play, chat room, laughter, all of you guys, spirit family. And go back to serious when it's necessary. And if we can't do that, well then we've got issues.
Yep.
I say
Yeah.
that from somebody who was like that at one point, not all that long ago.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I remember when I first started doing research, you get into some pretty dark rabbit holes when you start diving into what the world really is like. And when you start looking into the things, I remember like it took me to like it got really bad. And then I kind of realized that I got to still go out and have fun and enjoy life by all means. I think that's just something I think people come to when you first start waking up. It's a real shocking process, and you kind of go through I went through like a shock period, where you're just kind of like not sure where you fit in the world or what's going on and how do you fix it right away. Like, how do I wake? You want to go shout it at the rooftop. That's kind of what I was telling you. I was kind of hammering everybody I talked to. I wanted to get this information to them and wake them up. And I just realized that it doesn't work that way. And you got to kind of sit back and learn at a good, and not get to the point where you're not enjoying life. You still got to enjoy life and go out and live and have fun and that. But you also have to do the great work of trying to educate people and bring up these topics and have discussions about them.
And work on yourself because
Key. That's
uh,
key. That's so key.
always learn. We're always learning.
Mm-hmm.
The day you stop learning is the day you under soil. That's it. You're toast. That's my thing. Yeah.
Yep. Everything
Always
everything I
keep
do is
learning.
playtime. The balance says that everything I do is everything I do is playtime.
Oh, I love
I
you
don't care
guys.
what it is.
I
Well,
wish.
well, yeah, not everything you do, Cass, is playtime. I saw the amount of work. I was like, wow, incredible. And I'm always amazed that you don't sleep that much. I really am. I don't know how you can run on that lack of like not that. I think you should sleep more, Cass. To be honest.
Well, I will confess. Thanks to a certain somebody who you know who you are, who did a no and rang me at 6:30 on Friday afternoon.
Oh.
I spent 2 hours and a couple of glasses of wine too many on the phone. Looked at the watch and went, I have to be up in 2 hours. Go away. And completely missed all three alarms. Woke up about 3:30 Saturday morning. Went, oh shit.
But did you have fun?
Did
Yeah,
really good
exactly.
conversation. And you know who?
Exactly.
Yes, you.
Yeah, you. That's awesome.
But
Yeah,
normally, yeah, I
you.
exist on 3 to 4 hours sleep a night. Yes.
Yeah,
But
just because I'm getting to know you and talk to you a lot, and it's just I'm like, and I was shocked. I was like, you don't seem to sleep a lot, unless I'm missing it. Where I've caught you, I think
no,
once out of all the times we've talked that you were actually you didn't answer, and you were like, I was sleeping. I was like, oh my god. So I just think you need more. I don't know how you do it. I need at least like 8 hours. I honestly do. I think my pain levels have a lot to do with that. Well, yeah, like you must drink mass amounts of that or something. There's something going on.
Just run an IV. I'm happy.
Yeah, that would
Um,
be God. Wouldn't that be awesome? Have like a
I
coffee
know, right?
IV. Just like
I've been wanting one of them for
walk
years.
over to like your coffee shop, plug yourself in, just fill me up. There you go.
But I will say one benefit I do get from my stupid, crazy work hours is I get to play, not play, I get to do a lot of my work in the night, in the dark. And
Right.
while I know you jokingly call me a vampire, for some reason I don't like working in the day. But my first job of every morning is at a work site close to town. No lights, like Jen said. So until I turn the outside lights on, there is literally no light out there. There's a little bit over the hill, but nothing major. And it's just magnificent to start my day
Mm-hmm.
in the stars, breathe, connect, and just be. You know, I've got some wicked photos. I'm sure I've sent you a few wicked photos from out there. And it's just
Yes.
that to me makes what I do, my hours, my work. I love my work,
Mm-hmm.
stupidly enough, but I love my work. And it just makes it worthwhile because I get to start my day in my natural element.
Yep.
Feet in the soil, under the stars. What more could you ask for?
Nice and quiet. That's what I like about. I call you a vampire lovingly because I'm no better, as you know, because I'm the one messaging you at that hour. So you're always saying to me
Yeah,
like,
but
"Do
you're
you
12
ever?"
hours behind me.
Well, yeah, but it's still night when I'm usually messaging you where I
Yes.
am. So I'm like you. I've always been somebody that enjoys the night, and I just like the quiet. That's what I like when I'm outside. I might bring my
Yeah.
coffee outside, and I'll sit out there in the middle of the night for hours, and just that's what I do. A lot of my shadow work is when I'm sitting out there and it's quiet, it's still, and I'm just
Yeah.
sitting there, and it's just I think about like honestly, guys, how in chat, if we're being honest, how many of you guys take the time say for an hour or two a day just to sit in total quiet, like where you're out in whether it's out in nature, in a room by yourself, and I'm talking total quiet, no cell phones, no nothing going, no music, and just sitting by yourself and just asking yourself tough questions and answering yourself honestly. And that's what I do it. I really enjoy doing it out in nature or at night when I'm outside and it's nice and quiet and I'm by myself. And I get why you love the evening and
Yep.
as all the things you just described, and you have sent me some really amazing pictures that you've taken at nighttime. Like you get some amazing pictures wherever you are, like amazing stuff.
Yep. It's pretty magical. It is
It is.
magical.
I love to go there. I would so want to go visit Australia. I mean, I'm scared to death of every creature that lives there. I think because every picture you send me, it's these friggin' spiders that are the size of a dinner plate. And she sent me a picture of some kind of like, like what was that thing that you sent me that looked like a T-Rex? Like it was like it was like a bug on a chair, but the thing looked like it could eat you. Like
It was
what?
a grasshopper.
That's not a grasshopper.
It was a
Grasshoppers,
grasshopper.
grasshoppers where I live are like a quarter-inch big. This thing was a pterodactyl that you sent me on a chair. Like
Yeah, it was the size of my palm.
that's
It
not
was so
normal.
cute. He
That
climbed up and
oh,
he was looking at me on the railing. What could I do?
I don't know. I would have ran. Damn thing. Look at that. I mean, nothing where you live is normal. You got kangaroos that are on steroids and they got bigger muscles than a bodybuilder. You got everything will bite you. You got spiders that are just
I just so for those that haven't seen the photo, because only a couple of people have, I office job come across a nice big huntsman, like again, actually about the size of my palm. He was huge, sitting on the back of someone's chair, an office
that was
chair,
oh my god, that was awful.
and
We're
I
gonna have to
had to do
we'll
it.
show
I
that next
had to
week.
do it.
I'm gonna get you to
Yes,
show
we
people
can do
that
that
next
because he
week.
showed himself. It was really funny.
Yeah, like
And then I
that is
got told off that people like you didn't hurt us. Like no, it's safe where it is, but I had to do it.
yeah, I would love to go there. I think it's beautiful, and definitely the pictures you get are awesome. I really like the night ones that you send and stuff. So I get why you enjoy that
Yeah,
definitely, and I
a lot
find
of
I
people don't. A
no,
lot of people don't.
yeah, and I think a lot of people, to be honest, Cass, are not comfortable even sitting with themselves and quiet. It's a weird thing to do when you first start doing it. I have a lot of people when I talk about it, they're like, "Oh, that's easy. I can sit there by myself for a couple hours in total quiet." I'm like, "Try it." That's all I say to people. Try it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Yeah.
easy. It's not. And to be in total silence with yourself and no distractions and just in stillness. But it's
Yep.
so beneficial, as have you said and I've said. And I think a lot that's where it all starts for me is you have to do the work on yourself. And then it just builds upon that. So that's my thoughts,
You
guys.
need to open yourself up
Right.
to the learning, basically.
Yep. Yep. And I think confronting yourself and then connecting with nature is key. And I think a lot of people have to start learning how to do that. And they're trying to drive people away from doing that. And it's sad to see that because a lot of people, at least where I live, I don't know about where you live, but where I live, I don't even see people outside that much anymore. Like maybe people walking their dog, that's what I'll see, but I don't see kids outside playing anymore. I don't see uh a lot of people out doing stuff like even like barbecuing or anything. I don't know. Is it like that where you live, or is everybody kind of in the house?
I'm the probably the wrong person to ask
Right.
because where we are is up in Port Hedland is mining. So we've got like
Okay, that makes
a
sense.
good half of our population in this town are here for work only and they're here to earn the big dollars. So they come in, they'll work 12, 14-hour days for 2 weeks, go home to their real life for, a week or so, come back and do the same thing. So that's not your normal urban situation.
That's true. Very true.
There are places around town, like so you got the mums and that sort of thing. And I think it does happen, but yeah, that's not my thing. So I don't even pay attention to that sort of thing. Because I am so affected by other people being close to me and around me, I avoid big crowds. Like I avoid more than 2 people at a time if I can. So going to a shopping center is an absolute nightmare for me. Yeah.
This is something we got to do a show on, Cast, too, soon, is soil.
Yep.
Remember I was talking to you about that? I'm becoming a soil expert. And it started months ago where I started learning about the soil of our farms. And when you start digging into soil, guys, and researching it, we got problems coming down the road just from the soil.
Yep.
Very, very topic that I don't hear very many people at all really addressing is the state of our soil on the farms and that. So we definitely got to talk about that some show.
Yep. We're building the list. We just got to make sure we get here to do the shows.
Exactly. Well, we did good today. Usually I'm about an hour and a half late. I don't know what I'm doing. And so, hey, if I was only 15, 20 minutes late today, next week, it'll be right on the button at 9:00.
We might get close. I like it. I'm liking our chances. But considering what you did to me earlier, can you guest on the radio show if my guest doesn't turn up? And I went, yeah, sure, give me 10 minutes. I'm just driving.
Yeah.
I'll be back at the office. Oh no, just add me straight to the conversation. Yeah, no. No.
Well, I didn't see that message. I was like, why does she want to come on my show and she's in the car? And I was like, this isn't going to work. And then I read the message afterwards. It's like, no, give me 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, so that was my bad. But that was a great show. I hope people start. Actually, you guys got to really come and check out the radio show. It's a lot of fun, guys. And I love radio. I love that. I grew up with radio, so I love that style of just being able to sit back and listen to the radio. And my 1 hour show is, like I said, I have Cass on. I've had Jamie on. I've had Greg Fernandez Jr. on. I've had a lot of different people on. Anybody in the chat wants to come on, just get a hold of me or Cass. Let me know. And I'll bring you on.
And if you comes on quite a fair bit. Too.
Yeah. On my Saturday show,
hear from him.
Well, yeah, that's rare now. The days I haven't heard from him for a while. I hope he's doing good. But on my Saturday show, it's only an hour show. Ask Cass. It goes very fast, and we talk about anything. We can talk about music, movies, documentaries you've seen. Any topics pretty much open. Then my Monday shows were my 2 hour show. That's more like I do interviews like I do most of the time. So, but if anyone wants to ever come on and just talk music, you're more than welcome.
Hit us up. Hit us up.
It'll be a lot of fun.
I'll drop in the comments, in the video comments, I'll drop our emails and contacts as well, so it'd be easy enough to find. And
it's so cute, Cass. You got it
tomorrow. I'll add it.
Perfect. You
Yep.
got a tail wagging behind you. It looks like you have a tail wagging.
Yeah.
It does. It looks like you. I was trying not to giggle. I'm like, oh my god, it looks like she's wagging her tail. It's gotta be. It's gotta be the black. It's gotta be the black dog.
It
I
does.
see.
It
I see
does.
both of them, and they got a ball stuffed in your back, don't they?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every time I look, they're jamming a ball in your back.
No.
They're
Apparently, it's
so
quite funny
cute.
to see.
They're so cute. That one behind you.
The children.
Yep. There's
Oh,
the children. Which one's the bigger
yeah.
suck?
They're as bad as each other. This Noma's the oldest. He's the
Okay.
smart one. He's got more brains than half the human beings I know. This one. Yeah. Don't be sticking your nose down and stripping me on the camera.
Oh, he's the one that's scared of rain, though, isn't he?
Yes. And this one here is the youngest. This is Titan. He's the pug, but he's clever. So yes.
We
He's
have
the
to show
pug
the
though. It's not
puppies.
hunt. Okay, everybody out now.
Okay,
Everybody
children
out.
gone. There you go.
Scoop.
But all right, well, hey, we went an hour and a half, so that's good. A little over. So
That's okay.
yeah,
It's all good.
it's all good. But thank you guys so much for joining us again. I really appreciate all of yous. I really do. I really, really appreciate you guys coming and listening and hanging out with Cass and I, giving us your thoughts. And I really do look forward to this every Saturday now. I really am enjoying having Cass on as my co-host and chatting with you guys.
It's good fun. I'm having an absolute ball. I really
Me
am.
too.
Thank you
Yep.
for thinking of this. Thank you for floating the idea, my friend.
Oh, no problem. It's a great thing. And the more we can talk about these topics and get the information out there, that's where the power is that we have start talking about it, because I will end with saying you can bet your ass that they do not want us talking about these topics. And the more people that are talking about it and waking up, they don't like it. It's the one thing they don't want. They don't want people learning these topics that we talk about.
Exactly. Yep.
You know?
They just, the more of us that know and the more of us that can stand up, the less they like it.
Right. I agree.
Yep.
So, is there anything you want to announce? You got anything coming up with Jamie, or just the same show? That's
just Southern Truth at this stage. I'm really not too sure. I think we've been invited back on for another panel next Thursday with Rise of the New World. So we'll let you know as we go there. We'll see how we go. Mandy was listening but not chatting today. We're not too sure. We haven't heard from Fred for a couple of days, or since yesterday morning, I think. So we're not too sure if that's still on the go for this afternoon for the news chatterbox laugh fest that we did last week to be repeated. That was funny. So yeah, we really don't know. All I can say is keep your eye out on Mad's channel, and if we manage to go live there, we will. If not, maybe Mandy and I will do something. I don't know. Let's roll that by ear and see what we find.
Play it by ear. Perfect.
We've got all sorts of stuff that we've just got, and let's see. So,
awesome. Great to hear. Yeah. And then if you next week, or you're saying next week, is it going to be on the David Crowley case again? Is that the panel that you're talking about?
I believe so. I think we're doing part 3, but that's still up for confirmation from Eric and Laurie. So I'm not too sure.
Perfect. So if Eric and Laurie, just keep an eye on their channels, or I'm sure you can let people know if you are going to be doing part 3. You can perfect. All right, that's perfect.
And I will replay this tomorrow morning, as I have been, just for a couple of people. I'm sort of cross-promoting because I'm trying to help people find Rick's channel as well. So, build your audience up a little bit and sort of spread your knowledge base out a little bit. So I'll replay this probably around 6-7 o'clock tomorrow morning. I've got a fairly big morning, so we'll see. And I will also have all the contact information in the comment section on that one as well. So
perfect.
Quite easy find us or share us out.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Cass. And
I'll
keep it.
Love you all.
Oh, thank you. And I'll keep in touch with you all week. We chat all the time and passing information back and forth, and videos and stuff that I'm watching and you're watching. So great way to learn about different things. That's for sure. Because we're kind of looking at different things. So I'm sending you stuff on stuff that I'm watching, and then you're watching kind of different things. And it's a really cool thing. We're kind of like it's just sinking. It's perfect. So, but I do hope that everybody has a great week. Actually, it's probably not weekend for a lot of people, right? It's Sunday where you are right now, correct?
It's Sunday, and as Neil just said, it's nearly beer o'clock, and he's bang on the money, my friends.
Wow. Okay. Well, I hope everybody had a great weekend where you are and has a good week. So stay safe, guys. And remember, help each other and help educate each other. Very important.
We will. We
You know.
will.
All right.
You
Well,
too, my friend.
cool. And I will definitely keep in touch and I will see you next Saturday.
Sounds good. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Love
Thank
you
you
all.
so much. And I will definitely see you next Saturday and I'll try to be on time. We're getting better.
You be good. You be
I
good.
will. Take
Thank
care,
you.
guys. Take care, everyone.